Although agriculture is a mainstay of the Kenyan economy, there are significant challenges facing the industry. In Kenya's Kirinyaga County, for example, fresh fruits and vegetable farmers struggle to access reliable markets for their produce. They are often forced to sell to brokers at extremely low prices or risk having their perishable produce going bad.
Nafanya ukulima wa mandizi na mahindi na maharagwe, ambayo hiyo inakuanga seasonal, hiyo nalima kidogo. Unaweza kwenda huko Kagio, upeleke ndizi zako, uwe soko imeflood, zilale huko asubuhi ukienda zimeibiwa zingine.
And away from the firms, street vendors such as those in Nairobi have been facing hurdles when it comes to accessing quality produce to stock their businesses.
Produce zangu nilikuwa natoa sokoni, marikiti. Lakini niliachana nao kwa sababu ya vitu zao zinachelewa, vitu zao sio quality.
This is why Twiga Foods is innovatively bridging the gaps in the agricultural value chain by connecting fresh fruit and vegetable farmers to vendors in urban areas.
Ultimately, the biggest issue is access to markets. You have an existing infrastructure right now through the informal market where the average farmer will plant, harvest, and then the clock starts ticking. And this puts an unfair bargaining power into the hands of a broker. And a broker can just turn up and offer you whatever price they want. The typical mama mboga will have to wake up 3, 4 o'clock in the morning to go to a wholesale market to source their produce. And even there, they have to bargain and then transport the produce to their shop, never quite sure of what the quality is they're going to get. With Twiga, they know that they can be at their stall. Twiga will deliver to them better quality and better price than the wholesale market. This is the one issue that Twiga at its core solves. It guarantees offtake at a certain quality level and access farmers to a marketplace.
With the support of the Mastercard Foundation Fund for Rural Prosperity, Twiga Foods is better connecting the need of street vendors in urban centers to those of smallholder farmers in rural areas. The project, supported by the fund, involves the development and introduction of a fintech-enabled ordering app through which vendors can order stock and in future access credit offered.
Mama Mboga is now able to go onto her smartphone or her USSD app and make an order and know that tomorrow, the next day, that produce will be delivered to her in the quality that she can expect.
In addition, accurate record keeping captured by the Twiga Foods platform is now providing a means of financially empowering farmers by building app credit scoring data.
That, for the first time for a farmer, gives them a transaction history. They can go to the likes of the equity banks, etc. For the first time, they can say, this isn't just my shamba, this is biashara. This is a business that they can now leverage to access credit and other services from a financial institution.
A related innovation is the building of a real-time market information service, giving farmers, vendors, and other value chain actors real-time insight into actual fresh fruits and vegetable prices in the wholesale market.
The grant is also improving our market information system. As you can see in the collection centers, we now have pricing boards that are bright and clear. One, it allows people to know that they have an alternative to the informal buyer and they can sell their produce to Twiga through the aggregation points.
Even though the intervention is in its early stages, there are positive signs in that it is starting to transform lives and resulting in better financial inclusivity.
Pretty interestingly, when you read about these businesses on paper, you think of it from a financial inclusion or how they're sort of threading the market together from the farmer to the end consumer. But when you get there, it's really about logistics, it's about distribution. And so they're really providing a key critical service as a distribution and logistics company. And that is really interesting to see how it comes together.
Twiga Foods sources fresh fruit and veg produce ranging from 14 different fresh fruit and vegetable from about 10,900 farmers across the country in over 20 counties. And we supply this fresh fruit and vegetable to the informal sector, so to our mama mbogas. And at the moment, we're serving about 1,200 vendors on a daily basis, and in total, about 5,400 vendors in Nairobi City.
The brokers used to run away with our money and their price was very, very low. But now we are happy with the Twiga company. They have given us a lot of encouragement to do banana farming. And again, we are happy that they have started buying other fruits like mangoes. When Twiga came from last year, they have given very good prices. They are very regular in cutting the bananas. Again, with the payment of the kilos they have taken, they normally pay within 24 hours, that is.
The Mastercard Foundation Fund for Rural Prosperity, by supporting private sector businesses like Twiga Foods, is addressing the major challenge of financial inclusion in sub-Saharan Africa.
Financial inclusion has been increasing substantially over the past decade or so, but there are a few groups that have been left behind in terms of the access to finance. And one of these groups is the rural smallholder farmers, because they face a lot of barriers that get into the way of them accessing formal financial services. This fund is very unique in that it not only promotes financial inclusion, but it also looks at the holistic views in a holistic way, solving the issues that farmers are having.
What was surprising to me, perhaps most of all, was the number of youth employed by Twiga, the number of youth that are vendors, that are benefiting from Twiga's service. The founders are young. It's without knowing it, we also invested through the fund for rural prosperity in what could be a very interesting youth employment model.
With interventions like the Mastercard Foundation Fund for Rural Prosperity is supporting in Twiga Foods, the future of financial inclusion looks promising.
What was interesting to me was to see the nature of all of the different actors that are involved in the model and the work that they're doing. Really interesting to see what the opportunities will be over time for them to modernize their model with technology. I would expect that when we go back in another 2 or 3 years, it'll look very different, or maybe by the end of this program with Fund for Rural Prosperity, it will look different.
What we see as the future of agriculture is a transparent marketplace, really disseminating and collapsing a value chain that allows a myriad of middlemen who are not adding value, being replaced with a transparent system, which is ultimately a marketplace that connects the disparate informal market in urban centers across the country with the thousands of hardworking farmers across Kenya. So if Twiga can help to access supply and translate that through to the demand, then we're really a big part of innovation in this country.